Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. More stabby Brotherhood? What would you rename the series? Like if you had the option to. Hang on, there's someone in trouble. Will we save their pathetic life? Fine. We'll save them. We just won't recruit them. Okay. They're all super dead. I mean, they were just following orders, right? There's an interesting question. Should we allow them to live knowing they were just following orders? By the way, I forgot about this. As I was shutting down last night, this was something that I was reminded of. Not by any chat or anything like that. Just I had the menu up and I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot those were buttons I could hit. So you can actually see just the stuff you've bought and haven't bought here, and the stuff you have right there on the island. And of course, there's also jeez, this. We're gonna be here a minute. Yep. As we all know, the assassins are very big on PowerPoint presentations. So I want you to picture this is a PowerPoint presentation. Each time this happens, one of the assassins just goes click, click, click. And then he turns to the presentees and is like, as you can see, we have liberated the entirety of Roma from the Borgia's influence. Do you have anything else to add to your presentation? No, I just wanted to show you the animated slideshow I made. I got paid $50,000 billion to make it. Really? That's quite a lot of money. Yes, I know. But it's okay, because I'm a CFO. Anyways, hi guys, who we got here? Sakage, Black Vial, Nadaz, Peter, Juanta, Emiscardo, Ikros, Leander, and of course, Wraith333. Welcome to my stream. Oh, hang on.
Volpe, how goes Roma? Very well, Ezio. The French and Papal forces are in disarray.
Then it is almost time. Call the assassins together. And bring Claudia.
Very well.
Yes.
I shall get my PowerPoint presentation ready to go.
لا أشياء وقت مطلق بل كل ممكن. The wisdom of our creed is revealed through these words. We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
What about the ones who work in the light? Like Claudia.
We here dedicate our lives to protecting the freedom of humanity. Mario, our father, the brother, once stood around this fire, fighting off the darkness. Now, I offer the choice to you. Join us.
I like the idea that she would just like, nah, and she walks off. But Claudia, come back! No, wait! By the way, hi Star Trek, hi Bronze the Butt Dragon, hi Scottish Warrior, Blue of Alex, and Terra. What's up, guys? But yeah, as I was in the middle of trying to say Wraith 3333, I'm gonna try to say that because I've got 2 Wraiths on my channel now. Don't be a stranger if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, anything like that. Feel free to share. I really like interacting with viewers, so if you have any thoughts or whatever. I mean, this is a great lore run to just chat, as we've kind of shown, because there's several sections of, not a lot going on. Not right now, though. We got a cutscene to watch. Brother, is this necessary? Well, no, but,
You and I have not seen eye to eye on many issues.
That's just...
Nicolo!
But you are exactly what the Order needed. You have led the charge against the Templars and rebuilt this Brotherhood. Now, we must put Ezio where he belongs. At the head of the assassins. Ezio Auditore da Firenze. You will now be known as Il Mentore, the guardian of our order and our secrets.
Cool.
Where other men blindly follow the truth, remember, nothing is true.
True enough, Star
Where
Trek.
other men are limited by morality and law, remember, everything is permitted.
Now repeat after me. You will do everything I say. I will do everything you say. Follow me or die. Follow me or die.
Sudden change of heart.
I have always stood by you. I was the one who brought you to Roma, and the one who caused the explosion as you fled the Castello. The mercenari who protected you at Il Colosseo were mine as well. You just did not know it.
Maestro Machiavelli! Cesare has returned to Roma alone. He rides for the Castel Sant'Angelo.
Grazie.
Well,
The decision is yours, not mine.
Niccolo, you better not stop telling me what you think. Why else would I seek the opinion of my most trusted advisor?
Go kill them, Mentore. Finish what you started.
Good advice.
Not yet. I got other things to do first.
I intend to write a book about you one day.
If you do, make it short.
That one made me laugh when I first heard it. For those of you who don't get it, The Prince in some editions is less than 100 pages long. Anyways, hi Pinkerton. Yes, this is Witcher 3. My favorite background crafting thing. Hi, Seldir. The Steiner has returned. I can always tell Seldir's in chat because I just suddenly hear this. Ah, finally, sequence 8. Been waiting for this one. The greatest sequence of all time. Kind of, not really. No one can say princess like Seldir can. Yeah, alright, whatever. So, for example, right now would be a great time to just chat about off-topic stuff, because we got a bit of a hike ahead of us. Oof! It's okay, it's okay. I'm cool, I'm cool. Durg the Dragon, or Durgan. It's cool. You guys think I'm kidding. I say without hyperbole that Seldir is the voice of Steiner in my mind from now on. Whenever they inevitably give a voice actor to Steiner, because they're going to do that at some point or another, it's not going to be Steiner to me. I'm going to be like, who the heck is that guy? Although I could also say the same about several other characters, to be completely honest.
Hey, a little respect.
I really like Galtori's Garnet as well, for example. And Fox B does a perfect Beatrix. And of course, Maverick's been doing tons of voices. One of these days, I hope Random could start recording his lines too. I play, kinda. I guess I want to put past tense there. Stardew Valley. I'll save you. Really? Again with this? Just don't learn. But don't forget, Mr. Floyd Pinkerton, there's also the other Timmy. Because we just gotta have multiple Timmys for some reason. I always like to think that the kid Timmy is the ghoul Timmy, but that's just because I'm incredibly evil. I mean, he was a boss back in the old days. Hello, Zalot. Thank you, Star Trek. That's funny you say that. Just yesterday, my friend Pax was like, man, you suck at this game. Although he did have a valid complaint about my playstyle, so whatever. I have a tendency, in any game really, but especially in the Assassin's Creed series, get some sleep, Wraith 3. I'm gonna call you Wraith 3, is that cool? Good morning, Javis. I have a tendency when I'm going from point A to point B in any Assassin's Creed game to basically line of sight it, or that is to say, as the crow flies. Like, okay, I need to go north, so I just turn north and go north, even though it involves going up. And that's not exactly the fastest way to do that. But screw it. Gotta go north. I have that tendency in a lot of games. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. I am innocent. All I'm doing is trespassing. Ignore me. Ignore me. I am a little reckless on jumping. Although in my defense, at least half of those jumps that go bad are because of camera or control issues. Oh. Oh, you want to die? Oh, I'm sorry. You should have just said something. I love this camera. I really do. Like, there, why did it target that guy? I've noticed that's actually a thing. It just tends to auto-prioritize targeting the ranged before the guys who are in melee. It's... you know what? This is stupid. Ugh. Hello, Plutonia. Sorry. Hello, Plutonia. I guess I could have blown Aerostorm there. You know what? Hang on. Let's go back. Let's go back. Or they could all lose me. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's not like their lives mean anything else anyways, right? Hi, Hideori. Hello, Lycon. I'll tell you the game I'm really looking forward to replaying for this lore run here. Revelations. Because Revelations, well, I mean, there's a reason I have it as my personal favorite of the Ezio trilogy. I feel like they really had started to, you know, polish the games rather than just have great game concepts. I know, how horrible of me. The previous game merely had great game concepts. Hey, what's up? It's very simple, Pinkerton. She used cast plot power 7. It was super effective. Yeah, the hook blade is great. The hook blade is good. You still get recruits, although they're just not as good as in this game, in my opinion. But still, you know, you get the recruits, you get the hook blade, you get you know, the same general toolkit plus a couple of additional things. You're still basically restricted to one city. It's an awesome city while I'm on the subject. And, of course, the story is amazing. I'm sorry, I love the story of Revelations. It is the denouement of Ezio and Altair. And arguably Desmond. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Desmond's story should have ended in Revelations. Like, if you were to write, like, physically manifest story arcs, Desmond's story is here, and for some reason, Ezio and Altair's story is here. It's like this. And they just kind of awkwardly overlap with the Kenway trilogy. It's strange. But as we've discussed many times, that's probably because it wasn't planned. Jeez, this is a long one. I remember this one. Now, that's not to say that Revelations doesn't have its problems. The tower game minigame thing is just dumb. Just to put that as bluntly as I possibly can.
Vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Ite missa est Deo gratias.
Remember, nothing is true. And whoa, did I just teleport? No, that was just a weird thing. I am just one of the cardinals, as you can see. Revelations also has the unfortunate distinction of basically being the official moment.
Why is that? No. Now Bartolomeo d'Alviano is sure to rise up against the Pope.
Cesare's campaign will be in trouble.
Is that such a bad thing?
Perhaps not.
Revelations had the unfortunate distinction of being pretty much the exact moment at which the modern story went to hell.
The Pope's treasury is never empty. His Holiness will simply kill another wealthy cardinal if he requires funds.
Disgusting.
Hello, Tessie. The hook and the blade. I will also admit that Ezio just kind of becomes a doom machine with the hook blade. Like, he gets kind of brutal with that thing. Holy crap.
His name is Ezio Auditore.
Who? The assassin. Killed the banker. Some say he even walks the halls of Il Vaticano with no one able to stop him.
There is hope after all. Perhaps Cesare's rule will finally end, and the church will be restored to its former glory.
Hear that? The church is rooting for us. Hey!
Write the sermons, then leave them for you within the shrine. Make sure you deliver them convincingly, with passion.
The followers will do anything we tell them to, Padrone. They believe their God commands them.
How silly!
Bene. Do you have the key?
Yes, Padrone.
May the Lord be with you.
And also with you, Padrone.
The amount of effort that Assassin's Creed goes to try and keep contiguous with real-life history actually varies from bit to bit.
Assassino! You will not get me!
Because every now and again, you know, they get history very, very correctly. And then every now and again, they just make up whatever.
Takes me closer to God and away from you, Assassino!
Yes, very, very clever. You know, I love chase missions. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I just want to express my utter adulation for chase missions. They are the bestest, yo. He does sound like a Skyrim guy, yeah. I've been trying to place him myself, Psychotic. By the way, hi, Psychotic. That... What? I'm sorry, what? Hello to Adam. I know I'm not lovely, I apologize. Although I don't know who this Arsh guy is. Maybe he's lovely. Nope. Okay. Speaking of which, as I was looking up something to clarify, I noticed that there was a theory that people had about the nature of why Cesare is just such a bumbling idiot in this entire game. You ready for the theory? This is almost assuredly not true, by the way, because they hadn't really designed this plot thread yet, but... The theory is that it's raining. And Cesare is weak to rain. No, the theory is that it's the fact that he had the apple. Yeah, this is wet rooftop, dude. You're an idiot. Very agile for a cardinal. Aww. Also, that's not how that works, you prick. This guy is very athletic. I didn't know the Cardinals had Olympic triads amongst their number. Don't worry, I'll tell you the rest of the... I guess I can tell you now. I'm not really concentrating on anything. So the rest of the theory is that this guy right here is actually Cesare. Game over. We won. We did it. We won. Now, the rest of the theory is that... So it's about Juno. As we know, in the more modern story, the idea that... Well, actually, I guess, God, we gotta separate these out, don't we? So there's... Ow.
It seems God is on my side, assassino!
Who knew? Ah! So... There's several modern stories, and when I say that, I mean they've changed their mind multiple times. The original modern story was, you know, the,
It seems God is on my side, assassino!
The original story was the whole, you know, Templars versus Assassins, and then the, you know, Desmond becoming super assassin time travel plot, right? Then they changed their mind on that, and they replaced that with the whole Aita... Well, actually, no, let's be honest. They replaced it with nothing. Then they came up with the Aita/Sage thing, which became their focus for a while. Then they started focusing on the Juno thing. And currently, they seem to be focusing on the Layla time travel thing, right? So these are each of the modern stories. Well, in the Juno plot of those various modern stories, one of the things that they mention is that each one of the apples of Eden has been personally influenced by Juno.
Assassino!
I want the frickin' key, dude!
The followers of Romulus work for the Pope's gain! Of course! They are ignorant! We are enlightened! Their savagery will lead the people to the light of the church!
It's, I like how these people are just going about their business like, yeah, whatever. It's another chase through the infrastructure here.
Godspeed!
Nice guy. Okay, camera. Anyways, so in the Juno plot, each of the pieces is influencing all of the people who are using it, right? That's one of the main precepts. And there's several bits of information about how, you know, she is constantly manipulating everyone who interacts. Like the Altair thing I mentioned back in AC1. So in other words, the idea is that as soon as Cesare got a hold of the apple, he basically immediately went stupid because she was making him stupid. Make sense? Come on, I used to be able... There you go, there you go.
You have nowhere to run.
Just kill him.
You wage war against the very instrument that prevents the people from overthrowing order.
Oh no.
It's no order at all.
Hang on, guys. Cardinal guy has a sword. Apparently he's got a hell of a push. Look at this. You know what? You know what? No. Come here. I want to kick your balls. Come here. Come here. Come on. It's ball kicking time. Alright, I'm done screwing with this guy. Enough kicking his balls.
Requiescat in pace.
Assassin. Easy answer, Blackball. Also, Morbidian, that is literally the first time I've ever heard anyone who is in favor of the Layla story. Do you mind telling me why? Perfectly safe. Where are you visiting, Star Trek? Wow, I was actually pretty close to hitting the 8-minute timer. Huh. That's after a screw-up. Like 2 major screw-ups. Oh, it's something other than nothing. Valid? That is valid. Yeah, after 3 games of just nothing. Aw, man. Let's go get our armor.
There he goes again.
Oh.
Man, they're really tolerant of drunks in the Vatican, aren't they? Yeah, I don't care for Layla myself, but we'll see if they ever do anything with her. Like, right now, she's just, hi, I'm good at everything, and also get along with everyone, and also, I've invented many things that no one else ever could, and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's not a lot of characterization there yet. So far, she's just Chosen One 2.0. No. Okay, fine. Down! Down, then! Layla is also the main character of the modern story of Odyssey, yes. She actually has quite a bit more modern story in Odyssey than she did in Origins. Since there's a whole thing there with her and her mobile animus and getting together with several other Assassins teams and working with Miles and 2 other people whose names I can't remember right now. Oh, hang on. 2 with 1 blow. That's for you, Ice Tray, even though you're not watching. Why are they screaming? They're so weird. There's nothing to see here. Which one, Fenrir? Damn it, Saldir. Stop killing your finger, man. Fingers are your friends. And yeah, I am actually aware of the Saw, or I should say the Jigsaw, more specifically retcons. Even though I really don't like that franchise. Oh, the modern day dude. Well, last I checked, and they haven't followed through on this at all, he was inducted into these, the Templars. The end. That's it. That's, yeah, that's all they got. There it is. Excellent, Volcanto. The time has come. Whoa, sorry. Excuse me, pardon, excuse me. Yes, inducted at gunpoint. That is worth noting. But yeah, to my knowledge, they haven't followed through on that character at all. There were theories for a while that several other characters that are nameless protagonists were also him, but those theories were torpedoed, so that's not actually true. They may have changed their mind on that. Lord knows they have changed their mind many times in this franchise. No, Watch Dogs isn't part of the same continuity. Yes, of course Watch Dogs is part of the same continuity. No, Watch Dogs isn't part of the same continuity. Of course, it's the last one on the list. Well, Morbidian, the fact that I just killed 2 of them in 1 blow probably gives across my opinion of them. They're not as bad as the beggars. Nothing is as bad as those damn beggars in 1. Oh, those guys were really, really irritating. And you had less options to deal with them. Honestly, the bards are very easy to take care of if you pay attention. He's got this. Like, I demonstrated multiple times back in AC2 how you deal with the bards without killing them. I am excited for DMC5. Anything you see on my Premiere Run list, I'm excited for to some extent or another. Except for, like, say, Anthem, although I'm curious. What else? Atelier, which I'm terrified of. He's fine, Terra. He's fine. He had a guy at knife point. How could it possibly go wrong? Those poor walls, Angrad. What did they ever do to deserve that? See you around, Morbidian. Have a good day at work, hopefully. I can never remember my way through these stupid tunnels. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Scottish, we're pretty likely to be doing a premiere run of it. Because a lot of people have expressed interest in it, and it is, you know, a bunch of money has been put towards it, so that's probably happening. Oh my god, I hate these tunnels so much. Really, Takoida? Why does that not actually surprise me all that much? Oh, geez, I don't know, Sakage. I mean, we don't have a lot of information to judge based off either, because the team that is doing Warcraft 3 Reforged is the same team that did the visual update of StarCraft. Now, they put a lot of effort into that, and they deserve credit for that. But they also didn't touch the gameplay mechanics, or the interface, or, you know, the story. So, all I can say definitively about that team is that they put their work in. So, we'll see. Oh my god, I hate this place so much. Okay, so I found this again, at least.
I can also lend foil.
Yep. Well, at the moment it is on the Premiere Run list, Pinkerton, so I suppose that answers the question there. It is also the single most requested Premiere Run by a decent margin. Like, it's gotten to the point where I've run out of ways to track how many people are interested in it, and that's not actually a joke. So yeah, that's probably happening. Okay, we made it. Jesus. This freaking place. I'm not worried about it, Mad Overlord. I mean, why would I search for that anyways? Ladies and gentlemen, the Brutus armor. We are officially ready to go. I have no idea, Psychotic, but Resident Evil 2 is the other most requested premiere run on the site, so... enough said, really. So, for some reason, this armor is supposed to... Okay, this is a strangeness, okay? Let's just go ahead and admit this really quick. So, this armor is supposed to be, in lore, as good as Altair's armor, right? Except, it was worn by Brutus... and we know nothing about its construction, even though it's apparently made of the same super metal, the alloy, that Altair excuse me, discovered from the apple. In addendum to that, I'm blind. There it is. In addendum to that, it is also, like, never really mentioned in lore other than its connection to Brutus himself. In other words, even though we can presume Ezio found this armor, we're not sure. See, we know Ezio found Altair's armor. That was basically part of the story, and he actually starts with it in Brotherhood. And in fact, he later gets it, you know, further on in his life. So Altair's armor, definitely part of the story. Brutus's armor, it's possible Ezio never actually found this armor in lore. Even though, you know, we're wearing it right now. Because this is never mentioned again. And he never has it again. It's just gone. Hi, Adam. And like I said, we don't know why it's super amazing, like, you know, the Altair armor. This actually will begin a trend. A lot of the future armors in this franchise, the ultimate armors, so to speak, will be armors that are just really, really good. The end, like, without any real lore explanation for them. Now, I know fashion is fashion, but I actually really like this armor. Hang on, let me face the sun. I like it. The fur, I could do without the fur, but I like the rest of it quite a bit. Funnily enough, the fur was not actually originally part of the armor. The fur was added by the followers of Romulus, because, I mean, obviously Brutus, aka what they think is Romulus, would naturally have fur, right? He was a wolf. He was a wolf man. Of course he would have fur. Don't be ridiculous. It was an oversight that he didn't have fur. I got nothing. He's fine. He's fine. Now, it definitely feels like armor, which is going to what Leander mentions there. Like, this definitely feels like a big, bulky suit, which I admittedly like as the aesthetic. But I can totally see why people wouldn't, since, you know, assassins, mobile, etc. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they started doing, Volcanto. You'll notice that, so Altair's armor was pretty story relevant, right? And will show up again in the future. This armor had some story to it, which I've shared with you, and will never show up again. And if I'm not mistaken, every other Ultimate armor has no lore connections or connotations, with the exception of the Isu armor in Origins. What? No, why? So I want to explain what just happened. So I got into the thing and I have to hit B to accept the quest, right? So I hit B, nothing happens. So I hit B again, nothing happens. I start to get a little confused. So I'm like, okay, well obviously I'm not hitting B correctly. Clearly I must be getting mixed up because, you know, the whole Xbox controller thing. So I hit A, which canceled the mission. As an aside, my personal favorite Ultimate armor is the Isu armor in Origins. That armor's just awesome. I wish I could have worn it like the whole game. Listen, Saldir, that would require Ezio, and that's to have a brain? I guess I shouldn't say it that way. Because Ezio is one of the only people who actually did that actively. Shared knowledge going forward. I mean, if you saw someone in, 85 BC walking around in glowing metal armor...
You'll not survive much longer.
Vroom. Vroom. Or 87 BC, whatever it was. A while ago. I'm just gonna go through. Excuse me, I don't have time for this anymore. Excuse me. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me.
Stay right there.
Oh my god, they found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run! Okay, now to kill everyone. Hi. Whoa, 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 game. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Of course there's a mounted one. Oh, God, those camera angles. Hi! So anyways. Yeah, it's okay. I just opened up a spot for someone else to gain a cardinal seat. That would have been hysterical. You just start, every cardinal you kill, you just start getting letters. Thank you for opening up another slot on the papacy.
I am not involved. Please ignore me.
Oogie. B. There we go. So this is a Do Not Be Detected mission, also known as the suckiest of all the sucks. Cardinal Nemesis system. I like it. I mean, I actually do legitimately think the Nemesis system could be applied to a lot of different things and work fairly well. But that's just my own insane thoughts on the matter. Oh, you want to go over there. Of course. Yeah. Up. There you go. You're absolutely right, Star Trek, because he should have seen me there. I thought I was about to restart. Aw, I just wanted to drop the corpse on the bodies. They freak out when there's a corpse for some reason. I don't know why.
I would speak with you.
It's nothing to say. Wait. No, the other side. There we go. Kaiju Nemesis. Oh my god. Anybody excited about King of Monsters? I don't know when that's coming out, but I know it's coming out soon-ish. Sometime this year, I want to say. Yeah, I've got this big, burly wolf fur armor going on. Ignore the corpses.
I want to see the Pope!
His Holiness waits for you at the top of the castle in his apartments.
Get out of my way!
Ooh, it looks like Cesare is upset about something. I wonder what. I'll have to look into that, Volcanto. What? The... Huh? If I avoid this pile of hay, I know I will live. It's my only hope. He knew! He knew that hay was trouble. No, we have not killed Machiavelli. He has, however, licked our boots a bunch. And, I mean, I'm not a fan of bootlicking, so I don't know. I might have him killed anyways. How dare you suck up to me. Kill, kill, kill. This is like the third time I've infiltrated this place. I just realized that. It's gotta be really sucky for the people who've got to get rid of the corpses, you know? Picture that for a moment. Picture that's your job. Alright, go check the parapets. Looks like 5 corpses today. Wait, that's it, Leander. That's the guy from Skyrim. You won't kill me! God, that's such a dumb scene. actually infiltrate here, shall we? That's not even close to what I wanted to do.
Faster! We're losing!
Being the replacement for the corpse. No, they just don't tell them that that's what their job is. You're replacing the corpses. Huh? Because it's a scene you can't skip on replays, Eingrod. Which is also stupid. By the way, look, I'm sorry. I will never, ever forgive the Skyrim opening for being just generally garbage. You can argue whether other Elder Scrolls games are good or not. But Skyrim's is just... There's a reason why the random start mod is the greatest mod that has ever existed for that game, in my opinion. Three guys. Oh, they're moving. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I don't have an answer for that. What, the one where you, like, fall asleep and then you wake up and then you're in Skyrim, Jivis? Okay, Ezio. When I say jump down, that's what I mean. I'm not just whistling Dixie here. What is bad about the opening Skyrim? Everything! I tore it to shreds during my Elder Scrolls lore run, so I point to that. Right off the top of my head, though, non-interactive, disinteresting visual presentation.
I don't understand. I ordered a fresh batch of La Cantarella last night.
I am terribly sorry, mia signora. But the Pope has taken it all.
Where is the Pope?
He meets with Cesare.
Strange. He did not tell me Cesare had returned.
Okay, so what's about to happen?
So much trouble. Why didn't I stay in the stables? What a family this Pope has.
First of all, you notice that having a favored supply of Cantarella is just kind of a normal thing here. So, make of that what you will. I'm pretty sure he would hate them and want to kill them all, Adam. That's just my take on that. I mean, remember, Ezio's a good person more than basically any other of his character traits. Anyways, Lucrezia, they pronounce it a couple different ways in this game, is someone who I've heard several people have differing opinions of over the years. I'm curious of your guys'. I've heard some of your guys' opinions already. Since they obviously try to make her somewhat more sympathetic, especially in the DLC stuff we've actually already done. But what she's about to do is one of those eyebrow-raising moments for me. Especially given that she, well... What I'm going to say is that I think that she wasn't thinking. Unlike her father, who is a political mastermind, and her brother, who's an idiot, but at least, you know, a brute who can force his way into situations, she's an amateur at everything. And it shows. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because what we're about to see is that she is going to ensure that someone who doesn't really like her all that much, who is going to physically threaten her, is the person she just went out of her way to save from someone who is trying to protect her from a aforementioned person. Not direct. God damn it, Laura. That was me. That one was on me. I'll accept that one. From someone who he wasn't directly trying to protect her from. Hello? You, okay. I will admit she is definitely more decent than she had any right to be considering her uprising. I mean, good lord. I also think that she, I mean, so Lycon says she's a spoiled brat. I think that she has absolutely no understanding of the reality of her situation. Like, earlier, we've already seen her basically be like, Cesare should pay more attention to me, so I'm gonna get this other guy in trouble. And by in trouble, she, of course, didn't really understand what that meant. Or at least I think she didn't understand what that meant, because that guy dies.
What's he doing?
Yeah, I don't care.
What?
Hello, Hazardous. Now, it's also possible that she really is a horrible human being and she knew she was getting her other lover killed. Lord knows she has plenty of lovers, including her brother. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding, Cratcher.
Not what you see. He's losing us. I better get back. Wait, I can't quite say is there's watch. There's something deadly about it. Let him get away!
Hi.
Cut him down!
Up? But, okay. The more you think of this game as having literally psychic guards who have been trained to be psychic in order to prevent vampire infiltrations, the more this game makes sense. I mean, honestly. If we just straight up said, it's not going to move. Okay. If we just straight up, no, game. Straight up said that this is just a supernatural situation and we are vampires and everything, it would make so much more sense.
What has happened here?
I do not know what you mean.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt real quick. This is basically the fourth scene Rodrigo has been in this entire game. Now, I want to talk about this really quick, because it makes sense to quite it really does make more sense, especially more than the Animus stuff. The idea here... yeah, true enough, Hazardous. The idea here is that Rodrigo has not really been active, and that he has been deliberately avoiding provoking the Brotherhood basically this entire game. In other words, he was beaten, and he backed the hell off. He had a brain. Now, you could argue as to whether or not that would have saved Rodrigo's life in the end, but there's no denying the fact that that was the intelligent choice to make given the circumstances. Whoops. That's not...
Gone!
What?
Financial...
That's weird. Anyways, having said that, Cesare has been kind of fulfilling the same general role as Rodrigo. If you remember in Assassin's Creed 2, Rodrigo would show up like every third or fourth mission, right? Sometimes he was just in the background, you know, the red cloak Palpatine thing going on. But for the most part, he would make regular, repeated appearances to try to establish the villain, which is good. Now, what's funny is each of those appearances established how in power, in control, and how connected Rodrigo was. He was always one step ahead of us. And he was always someone who knew more than we knew. All the way up until the end, where it was revealed that he was going after the vault, right? Now, they've been doing the same trick with Cesare. Now, I understand why some people don't like Cesare, because what they've been doing with him is they've been showing him he's been showing up every now and again to metaphorically cackle and twirl his mustache, but he's also been failing in basically every scene he's in. Every time we see him, one of two things is happening. Either he is dealing with the consequences of something we have done, in other words, he's trying to recover from a loss, or he is trying to deal with something someone else has done and recover from a loss. So every time we've seen Cesare, he has been established in the same way that Rodrigo just in the opposite direction. Rather than competency and power and control and being one step ahead of us, Cesare is consistently behind us, is consistently failing at everything he does. And I want you to keep that in mind for this cutscene, okay?
Difficulties strike all of us, even those with an army.
You intend to give me money?
No, I do not.
Then I will use the piece of Eden to get what I want. Your help is not necessary.
That has been made abundantly clear to me. Are you aware that the Baron de Valois is dead?
No. Did you?
What reason could I possibly have to kill him? Was he plotting against me with my brilliant, traitorous Captain General?
I do not have to stand for this.
The assassins murdered him.
Why did you not stop them?
As if I could. It was not my decision to attack Monteriggione. It was yours. It is high time you took responsibilities for your actions.
My accomplishments! Despite the constant interference of failures like you!
You are not going anywhere. I have the piece of Eden.
Get out of my way, old man.
I gave you everything, and yet it's never enough.
Cesare! He intends to poison you!
You would not listen to reason.
Father, do you not see? I control all of this. If I want to live, I live. If I want to take, I take. If I want you to die, you die! Where is the piece of Eden?
Stop! I know where it is!
And you did not tell me he had taken it?
Cesare, it's me, your queen.
You are my sister, nothing more. Where is it?
You never loved me?
Where is the apple? Tell me! Tell me!
So, this is a bit of a scene, but I do like what Lycon points out, because AC2 was the Master Templar, Rodrigo, who had been doing this for a long time, was very good at what he did, versus the Novice Assassin, Ezio, who had just joined the Order. This game is the Master Assassin, Ezio, who is going up against the Novice Templar, Cesare.
Alright, Cesare. I am coming through that window.
I want the apple!
I mean, I could have just, interfered at any point, but I decided to watch this entire scene without doing anything because apparently I'm a weirdo.
Give me the apple! It's mine, not yours! I want the apple!
Hi, Hestus. Again.
Am I hurting you? Give me the apple! It's mine, not yours! I want the apple! Smart decision, little sisters.
Requiescat in pace.
I know. I know where that bastard is going. San Pietro. The pavilion in the courtyard.
Thank you.
We'll meet again, and I will not sleep with you. I'm not kidding, he really won't. Trying to figure out where I am now. Yeah, that's why I didn't Volcanto. For those of you not aware, this is actually a relatively easy one to get full sync on. You just have to take the long way around. But if you were paying attention, that he only had like a couple of lines of dialogue. In fact, even though I was racing through there, going the direct kill-through route, I still heard him repeat his lines. Imagine going through the long way.
Assassino!
Cazzo.
Amateur.
I will come for you later.
Ezio. You have a gun? No? Okay. Just thought I'd point it out. Now, I have actually heard some people defend the fact that he didn't kill Cesare there. I am not going to be one of those people. However, the argument that I have heard was actually amusing enough for me to share with you guys. The argument is this. Ezio doesn't just want to kill Cesare. He wants to absolutely destroy him piece by piece. Now, that could be argued to be stupid, but, you know, revenge usually is stupid. Yeah, we have a gun in lore at this point. That's not an optional thing. We have a gun. We kept the gun from the beginning. Okay, sure. Sure, Adam. They were too busy having sex for 2 years. I don't know. Nothing to see here. Oh, I believe you, Volcanto. Because, yeah, that guy's just what I call a peekaboo challenge. That's any time where a game does something which you basically could not have predicted or seen coming. Hang on, I gotta kill this guy. It's actually law. Are you gonna counter there? Oh god, these camera angles are literally killing me. Oh god, I can't see anything I'm doing. I have to kill these guys. It's the law. I'm sorry. It's the day's law. Actually, it's funny you say that, Tara. He is, in fact, partially poisoned as of right now. Alright, now I think I can stop killing them. Now that I've killed the guy. Sure, game. If you guys don't know what the daze law is, anytime someone dazes me in WoW, I stop everything to turn around and kill them. What? Okay.
I see him! Don't let him escape!
Yeah, by the way, the guards just kind of keep spawning and just kind of have the ability to psychically home in on you. Even if you're not currently wanted, you actually saw a bit of that just a moment ago. Well, no, because Cesare actually did historically die from being flung from a parapet, so that's how we'll be killing him in the end. Go figure. But anyway, sorry. So yes, you brought up the fact that Cesare has been poisoned. Yes, he has been poisoned. Excuse me, I really could use this, or not. You gonna let me have the horse? There we go. Thank you. Anyways, just had to be real careful about letting that guy down there. Anyways, the idea is that Cesare is actually weakened as a consequence of being poisoned here, and that will be mentioned a couple times in the future, too. Go figure. Where the hell am I? Oh, okay, I see the problem. I was actually turned around as to where I am. No wonder I was confused as to where I'm going. What? Become anonymous to kill it. Continue. Okay. Junk on the map. Do I think Cesare is superhuman? No. So, how many of you guys have played Half-Life 2?
Looking for this.
It ends now, assassino. My sword will take your life.
So there's the poison. So this is the awesome moment. I talked about this during Half-Life 2. Several games have a moment where you've been playing a fairly decent part into the game. And the game is just like, okay, here. We're just going to give you something to have fun with. And that's the apple. Like, in a nutshell, right there. They give you the apple to allow you to just go nuts and have fun and kill everything in your way. Yeah, this is the big gun of awesome. Exactly. That's exactly what this is. Now, there is a catch with it. And I have to admit, this could have been a lot more awesome than it is. So here's the thing. You'll notice how the longer you charge it, the more it drains your health. In lore, the reason for that is the fact that Ezio is completely unprepared and unused to using an apple. He's only really used one like once ever before. However, they do make it so that your health regenerates fairly quickly. Doing this 100% sync can go burn, by the way, because that means basically doing this. And then this. Gotta barely... You notice your range is basically nothing. Sometimes they die, sometimes they basically have the exact same condition as the Berserk condition. Sometimes their friend and foe flags get screwed up. It depends on, near as I can tell, just pure random chance. I have to admit, the first time I got this, when I saw like the 30 guards, I just stood there and hit all of them and watched them all die. Now, this is an interesting little trick that I'm not great at, but, you know, I seem to be doing okay at the moment. So, as I've pointed out before, they just have the ability to keep up with you, right? They basically can rubber band to get up to you. Like that. Well, if you do a little hop, the rubber banding basically quits for a second. Get up, Ezio. Like that. Or that. That's why I'm hopping there, by the way. Now, I didn't know you could do this in 2. Someone mentioned it in 2, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that in 2. But you can do it in Brotherhood, which, obviously, since I'm doing it in Brotherhood. Yeah, 100%ing this is really, really slow. It is just pure slow. Yeah, there's a reason there's only 2 AC games I've ever 100%ed. Just put it that way. I believe you, Chicago. Honestly, and this is just me speaking bluntly here, while I get they kind of wanted to limit you, I would have made the apple not hurt your health. I get why they do it. I just think from a gameplay perspective, they want us to have the apple and fight 30 guys. Give us the Super Doom thing. It's not like they don't later in Assassin's Creed 3, right?
Rodrigo Borgia is dead.
And Cesare?
Poisoned, but alive.
We must not allow him to assemble his remaining supporters. The coming weeks are critical.
With your aid, I will hunt him down.
My men will patrol the city, but we might need an army.
We have one.
The ones I've 100%ed are 2 and 4, Morbidian. And honestly, I can't see that changing. Maybe Origin someday. So you notice, once again, we are basically stuck with the apple. We cannot use any other weapons. Also, notice how the music gets really horrifying here rather than big and triumphant. I just point that out because this is actually a very creepy scene when you think about it.
You must find them.
They are everywhere and nowhere at once.
I do not care how you do it.
We cannot on our own, Signore. You must help us.
I am ill, you idioti! Micheletto will soon be here with my armies, and then you will see how quickly the assassini fall.
You
Aye.
delude yourself, Cesare.
God!
What sorcery is this?
Please, Lord, do not smite me!
How is this possible? Il diavolo!
Now, you'll also notice that anything caught in the white circle just straight up dies. Anything caught in the yellow circle gets affected. Now, sometimes, and that just demonstrated right there, sometimes the yellow circle still dies. So it's not a guarantee.
Don't do this, please.
You know what's funny is to an outside observer, this probably just looks like Civil War. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure that's what historically this was recorded as. Hi, Django.
A cardinal revealed under stress that Cesare plans to meet with Templar loyalists in the countryside. The cardinal departs for the meeting tonight.
I will follow him.
Yeah, this section is extremely on rails. Deliberately. This is just Ezio ripping Cesare apart. Piece by piece. Not physically, but in every way that matters. Hey, guys. Again, I do still think this could have been done better, but I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. The first time I reached this section, my reaction was, oh, hell yes! Which made the section in 3 even more satisfying, because the section in 3 is better done, in my opinion. Yeah, by the way, spoiler alert, you actually wield an apple in 3, and it's awesome. Yeah, this is literally just Ezio toying with Cesare. Shredding him piece by piece. Which is funny, because then we later physically tear him piece to piece, or at least his armor. Not really him, per se. I have to admit, again, my opinion on this was probably tainted, biased, because remember, I played 1, 2, and Brotherhood back to back to back. Like, within 2 days or 3 days of each other, or something like that. You know, very quickly, in other words. So in other words, it was not that long ago that I had seen the apple being used in 1 compared to here. Where the hell? In 3? I don't think it lasted that shortly. Connor? I didn't like Connor. To put that as nicely as I possibly could. Okay, I'm apparently an idiot. What does this game want me to do right now? What do you want to do, game? Wrong button. Break up his meeting with the Cardinals. Oh, right. It wants me to do this, doesn't it? Yeah, the section in 3 is basically an entire mission of, you know, having the apple as Desmond and basically destroying Abstergo. I mean, Abstergo endured that incident, but, The only thing I wish is that we'd taken longer with Vidic. Hi, Grey Wolf. Aha! Yeah, I didn't like Connor. That's the simplest way I could put that. I didn't like the voice actor. And I felt like he was just kind of there. That being said, combat-wise, Connor's a beast, and that makes a degree of sense, but, you know. Yeah, like I said, I wish they'd given us the chance to just beat the ever-living crap out of Vidic. Then kill him. One of the first questions I asked PAX, like every now and again I say, hey, can you spoil something for me? And they're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, sure, what's that? And I was like, can I kill Vidic? His response was, yeah, you kill Vidic. I was like, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Hey, guys. Hello? That's strange. Whatever, apparently.
Join me and I will take back Roma.
We have decided to elect Della Rovere to the papacy. We are sorry.
I paid for your appointment.
Roma is not the same as it once was. Borgia money has become tainted.
You will regret this decision!
Assassino! Run!
Hired men promise you their blood, but as soon as you need help, they turn against you.
Guards!
Just making the point there. See, that's what I would have kept. If you want to use the apple... If you want to use the apple full tilt, I'm okay with it basically stunning you. I'm with that. But, it shouldn't drain your health just to use it normally. IMO. This should not drain health. Takes forever to stand up. For God's sakes. Come on, regen. Regen. You can't heal while doing this too, by the way.
No! Don't do it! Don't do it!
Oh, I would have definitely had him summon other people. I mean, he literally did that before. Back at the end of the last game. And yes, Dakota. They were literally begging us not to do this to them. Nope. Down you go. I like to think that their brains explode if you hit them with the white beam. Not like in a gross, gory kind of way, just in an internal way.
Cesare rallies his best soldiers in front of the main gate into Roma.
Gather the assassins. We face him together.
Can I have a real weapon? Nope.
What an oddly cut cloth.
I like super weapons when they don't drain my health.
It's not what he seems. All of Italia shall be united, and you will rule beside me.
Hi.
Come to watch my triumph. Soon Micheletto and his army will arrive, but you shall be dead before then.
That's basically all he's got left. Right there, Volcante. That's all he's got left. Oh, okay, I lied. He's got this stuff left. Rodrigo is very dead, yes. My men will never fail me. They know what awaits them if they do.
Soon you will pass from this earth, and my dominion will be returned to me. Rip the assassin's throat out! I want the assassin made to die today!
I do too, Javes. I will spare them. They surrendered. Yeah, I know, right? Absurdity. Again, the whole health thing isn't as cool as it probably should be.
Throw down your arms, Cesare Borgia.
Micheletto's troops mass behind me. We will take back my city once and for all.
This is not your city anymore.
By order of Pope Julius II, I arrest you, Cesare Borgia, for the crimes of murder, betrayal, and incest.
No! 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 This is not how it ends! Chains will not hold me! I will not die by the hand of man!
It was the manner in which he said it. Chains will not hold me.
If you are so worried, there is a way to find out.
No, it is too powerful. It must be hidden outside the domain of men.
What a shame. Hiding a masterpiece where no one will ever see it.
And yet, what if he meant what he said? I cannot risk it. Cesare was right. I have to leave.
What about your friends?
I built this Brotherhood to last, with or without me.
What do you intend to do?
Plant a seed. Here, a gift.
If this is goodbye, then keep your money. I do not want it.
We will see each other again. You have my word. Buona fortuna, my oldest friend. And take the money. On your meager salary, you will need it.
No kidding, dude.
Patron has been arrested after all.
So yeah, I'm with Kay. This section was... I mean, I enjoy parts of this section. I do. But you could tell they were just barreling through this section. Like, we go straight from Cesare being arrested to, he said he would escape. You know, the story beats are just, This is like the GM summarizing. Okay, so I know you guys wanted to jump forward a bit to the next big battle scene, so what happens while you were gone? And then, we're here! And Cesare's escaped. They don't even explain.
The apple you stole from Mario Auditore, let me hear.
And then we're suddenly fighting Cesare in some battle.
Kill the assassin! Tear the maldito bastardo to pieces!
Okay. Whoop, wrong button. Wrong button. My bad. So, to explain a little bit what's going on here, Cesare did manage to escape, and decided to go ahead and get himself positioned as a captain. Sorry, as a captain of... I'm sorry, I actually don't remember which battle, which group this is, but as you can see, he's in the Nevers battle, and the battle for Vienna. So, he is just a guy who is in charge of a troop here. And he was on the... basically, the idea is that he was on the rise to try to, regain his military power, and blah, blah, blah. I said Vienna. You know what, I'm going to look this up, because I'm actually curious. You guys don't mind if I do that, right? No idea how to pronounce it. To spell his name. I know how to pronounce it. It's burned into my brain. Blah, 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 blah. So he bribed a prison guard in Castillo. He got the rope, smuggled out, stole a guardian from him. He met with Micheletto. He told him that Ezio was tracking him, and blah, blah, blah. So... then Cesare begins... Valencia. I was right about that. This is it. John the Third of Navarre. That's who... So apparently that's his brother-in-law. I didn't know that part. Micheletto apparently tried to kill Cesare. That's cool. I'm with that. Cesare killed Micheletto. Okay, I'm with that. We're all cool here. Everything's cool. And then in March, here we go. March of 1507. Cesare is underneath the command of John III's army during the siege of Vienna. And here we go. It was on behalf of the French. That's what I thought, but I want to make sure. He's doing this on behalf of the French. Because this will enable him to regain some brownie points with the French military. Then it says March 1507 right there. Whatever. Get off me, you stupid corpse. Ugh. I got nothing better to do.
I need munitions.
Help yourself. There are more than enough to go around.
And yeah, I would agree with that, Tara Branford. For all his many, many horriblenesses, Rodrigo at least had a brain. Yeah, we're good. By the way, I'm not touching the camera button here. At all. I just wanted to point this out because this is an excessively railroaded section. Like, even the individual portions of it are super railroaded. Is it going to be voice acted? Oh, here we go. I suppose you want to know how Cesare got here. I'll indulge you. It was 1506. He was imprisoned in Castile. A sympathetic count smuggled in a rope, and Cesare climbed out the window and dropped 70 feet, fracturing several bones, but his fall was broken by a servant who preceded him. Both the servant's legs were snapped, and he was left to be captured and executed. Cesare escaped in merchant's clothing and chartered a small ship in Santander. He reached Navarre, court of his brother-in-law, and at the time Navarre was dealing with upheaval, secretly led by the Castilians. The king asked Cesare to command his army of 10,000. He was to retake Viana Castle from the Count of Lorerun and the Castilians aiding him. Excitedly, he wrote a letter to Lucrezia. Once the castle's been pacified, I will regain the support of the French and march back to Rome. And again, not touching the camera. Hello, Doctor Who. Honestly, I have a feeling this is just the writing staff. Again, you know, as with many video games, they just kind of were running out of time and effort and steam by the end there.
How did you find it?
The apple you stole from Mario Auditore, let me hear.
Kill him! Kill the assassin! Tear the maldito bastardo to pieces!
However, but again, God, I just did that. Anyways, as I was trying to say, the other thing to be kept in mind here is that we know Cesare's death, and at this point in time, when they were making these games, they wanted these to be at least kind of adhere to history. So they wanted Cesare to die in the right way at the right time, as history recorded it, which is why this happened. And as is pointed out, Cesare died quite a bit after Rodrigo.
More than enough to go around.
So, yay. The real irritant is the fact that I couldn't go do the Christina mission before this. I mean, I could have if I did it at a different time. Okay, how about you go over here this time? Let's make this easier for you, Ezio. Dramatic music. War music. Oh no, my horse that I was on. I was doing that on purpose, by the way. Because you can really see the lack of polish here. And I wanted to show that. I'm not even going to comment on how long it would have taken Ezio just to reach this place in lore. I mean, think about that. It's not exactly just around the bend, is it? Well, that's what artillery does, right? They just fire at random locations until they hit things. Pretty sure that's how artillery works.
Ayúdenme! Mi hijo! Mi hijo está herido!
In case you didn't hear that, she said, "Help me, my son is wounded."
You brought this upon yourself. Through sin. This is our Lord punishes you.
Oh yeah, by the way, to further emphasize the point, you'll notice how basically all the enemies here are the low-level mooks. Like, the lowest level mooks. The guys we could crush effortlessly. Like, this is just trash. This is the MMO definition of trash right here. don't grab. I mean, I wasn't actually wanting to grab that section anyways, personally. But here, there you go. There you go. Good Ezio. Now, see, that makes sense to me, Tara Branford. But, again, this section just does not feel properly designed. I feel like a polish could have been used here, you know what I mean? Come on, there we go. Once again, not touching the camera. I'm glad we climbed that. Anyone else getting oh, I can't think of his name. The guy who does the music for the Call of Duty series. Okay, gotta become anonymous. You know what that means. People gotta die. Apparently my timing is just really off today. There we go. I think I agree, Inquisitor. Like, this game really needed a polishing pass. If it had had it, this would probably be among my favorite, if not my actual favorite AC game. Well, of course, Django. The Spanish and the French. Hans Zimmer, thank you, Hans Zimmer. That's what I was thinking of. This music sounds very Hans Zimmer to me. Like, it's his style, you know. It's also probably worth noting that Hans Zimmer is not one individual, but that's a really separate thing. Oh, now we gotta climb another siege tower. I find it best to think of Zimmer as a music company, because that makes it make a lot more sense, really. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yes, Tara Bradford. Hey, Cesare, what's up? Try that again. I don't have any smoke bombs. I actually don't know what to do with this one. Throw money. Yeah, okay. Okay. If this works, I'm gonna laugh. Come on, look, money! No, they're not even rendered. That's the problem. They're not even there. They're just animations. God, it won't let me go over the edge. Oh, I died! Oh, no. Cesare was too much for me. Truly, no man can kill him. He really was the Witch King of Angmar all along. Where are we at? Where'd it leave us? This isn't too far back. Yes, Cesare is secretly Scarlet. God, it really is to cut. Okay, so we're gonna walk here. We're not in combat right now. To be clear, I don't have cheat engine up or anything right now. Like, I have no cheats going. I have a saying. Negative to gameplay. I'm gonna look this up real quick. Just real quick. Hang on. Really? V-Sync. I have to turn on V-Sync. Now, I specifically have that off because I have a good computer, which does its own thing. I have G-Sync running, so V-Sync actually is a bad thing for my computer. But, sure, we'll turn that on. Now we still have to restart, I'm imagining. Yeah, probably. Oh, Brotherhood, easily. At least in terms of gameplay. I mean, 2 has the far superior story. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. But Brotherhood does a lot right. It's just... yeah. Going from 2 to Brotherhood is also just a weird experience, I'll tell you what. That being said, I would say that Brotherhood has more missions that piss me off than 2. Like, 2 only has a few missions that piss me off, personally. Basically, all of the Bonfire of the Vanities missions are just... I like to think that they just committed suicide there. They were just tired of it. They saw Cesare's swordsmanship and they just ran, just like I did. Okay, it did turn on, right? Yeah, V-Sync is on. I don't want to do this. So how's your guys' day going? Everything great? Everything great, I'm sure. Hey, I just lost my connection to Twitch chat. Someone say something, because I just lost Twitch chat. Oh, hang on, I see people there. Ah, damn it. Of course, now I see Django's statement, now that Twitch chat's back. Oh, right, I'm supposed to hit some stuff here. So if this doesn't work, we'll try Django's thing. So I need to lure a guard towards the checkpoint. Okay.
Tear the maldito bastardo to pieces!
You know what's funny? I could list so many different examples where, like, a final mission of a game is just crap. It's actually probably the exception. Yeah, I need to restart the plugin, too. Hang on. I could probably list the, you know, awesome final bosses or final stages as the exception rather than the rule. I mean, how many of those have we had over the years? Hang on, so that would be this one. Restart. There we go. I'll give you one example right off the top of my head. Red Dead Redemption 2. Crap last mission. I got another one. KOTOR 1. And, to be completely honest, KOTOR 2. Crap last mission. Final Fantasy 12. Crap last mission. And I'm using all of these examples personally And specifically because each of these are games that I would consider good games. We'll go ahead and use the horse this time, since I made my point now. See, those artillery are very important because they're all shooting at this horse. Yes, I know, Tesla. I had to restart it. And Brotherhood. Crap, last mission. Devil May Cry 4? Yeah, no, that actually qualifies too. Honestly, I didn't even like the improved Malachor section, personally. I mean, it was better, without hesitation, but I mean... Eugh. I just really wanted to crush that guy's face, sorry. Really? You know what I love about these games the most? The fact that they keep taking away my control of the camera. I didn't really want my camera, honestly. I mean, does anybody really want control of their camera? Isn't it better for cameras to be free from the control of the Templars? You see, it's actually a meta statement on... I'm just messing things up.
I have heard Cesare Borgia commands the Navarrese.
I'm just poking fun. Oh, jeez. Mass Effect 3. I wasn't even going to bring that one up. Come on. I liked the suicide mission of Mass Effect 2, and I will say that till the end of my days. The last boss was pretty lacking, though. Which is weird, because one of the things I usually praise Mass Effect 2 on over Mass Effect 1 is the fact that it actually had decent boss fights. You know, not great, but, you know, decent. Oh, we get to see this again. But yeah, suicide mission, yeah! Last boss against the Terminator thing. Here's the weak spot. That's my summary of the Mass Effect 2 last boss fight right there. Here's the weak spot. You know what's funny? I have long since believed in what I call the Nobuo Uematsu ideal of final bosses. That a final boss should be something unique and special and different and awesome. Because it's the final boss, it's the culmination of the game. And back in the day, this didn't mean quite as much. You know, it was just like, you know, we're going to use a different rendering mode. I talked about this during Final Fantasy IV. They insisted on doing something different with the background of the Zeroma's fight because it was the Zeroma's fight. And I mentioned this during Final Fantasy III because he insisted on having a last boss song, which at the time was unusual. You know, there should be something unique and special and awesome for a final boss fight, in my opinion. I've always felt that way. And yes, Flowey. Great example of that. Or the Flowey fights, plural. Really? No, I mean Nobuo Uematsu. Because the idea comes from him and Final Fantasy III. That's really where that idea comes from. Because I've pointed this out during the Final Fantasy Lorerun. He had to push for the idea of having a completely different fight song for the final boss. Which they didn't do in 1 or 2. Oh, Jesus, come on, camera angles work with me. Not against me. I love how there's just corpses falling. The final mission of FF9? Yes and no. I think Memoria is actually a pretty cool last dungeon. But, and I think the Crystalline World had the beginnings of some cool stuff. And the fight against Kuja was pretty awesome. The fight against Necron, not so much. Now, I would say that Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, Yeah, I guess that's it. All of those had pretty awesome final stages and final bosses, in my opinion. So I'd say Kingdom Hearts has a pretty good track record, in my opinion, of course, when it comes to final stages and final bosses.
Just let me go.
Sonic Colors. See, that's an interesting one, because the final boss of Sonic Colors is basically just a gimme. Like, there's no difficulty to it. It's just there to feel awesome. I'm okay with that, but that is what it's there for, to feel awesome. It's there because you had already beaten the game. And that is a aspect of game design philosophy, you know, making a final boss that is basically just you absolutely destroying the fight. Yes, Arkham Asylum definitively had a bad last boss. I would agree with that. The Joker fight there, spoilers, was just not good. Yeah, it's a good sign. We had a little cutscene there. Hang on. Oh my god! No! They found me! Alright, I'm gonna try one last thing. And then I'm gonna YouTube this. I didn't care for the Corypheus fight, or the lead up to him, personally. For the record, I've never seen this happen before, either. Oh, I'm sure, I'm God. And it's gonna piss me off, too. Whatever. Funny you say that, Hazardous. I usually have the exact opposite experience. Bugs in consoles mean you have no way of dealing with it. Whereas bugs, you know, in PC usually have a way around it. What are they doing? They just straight up suicided. They really did. They just killed themselves. They just killed themselves to prevent me from dragging them into the cutscene. Oh my god! Alright, just the hell of it. Yep, no, okay. Wow. One more attempt here. One more attempt. No, I have not, Tesla. Although at this point, I'm just going to YouTube, because either of those actions would involve doing the entire mission again. Hey, what's up? There we go. Okay, we're in combat. We're in combat. That's a good sign. Oh no, don't attack me, please! Tee-hee-hee, big strong soldier guy. Oh no, he's hitting me. Please don't hit me, soldier guy. You know what? I'm ordering ice cream today. This is stupid. I think that's a deserved thing. What do you guys think? Should I get ice cream today? I can't even remember the last time I had ice cream. Yes, I can. It was 3.5 years ago. I was going to see a movie with my friends. That would have been Force Awakens. It's the last time I had ice cream. Force Awakens. Yes, I can remember that specifically. Don't shame me, bro. No, I just usually don't get ice cream. I have a very mild lactose intolerance, but it's super mild. It doesn't matter. You know what's the best part about this? This means I can't show off the next sequence. You know, the one that ends the game in the modern era, right? I can't show off that, because that is after this. I'm thinking, I'm not just looking at my phone here. I like to think that Cesare is just watching, laughing maniacally. Like you do. I'm not on AMD, by the way. I'm on GeForce, so that's not a thing. I could try to turn off. G-Sync is off. That's right. I had to turn it off in order to get these games running at all. So G-Sync's off, so that's not it. I could turn G-Sync on. It's something that is currently not. Sure, why not? Enable. Yep, enable, apply. Okay, G-Sync is now on. There we go. V-Sync should also be. V-Sync is also on. No, I mean G-Sync. I use a GeForce, Django. I have a 1080, whatever the hell. It's funny that I haven't encountered this problem until this point, you know? That this is the first time this is actually becoming an issue.
I offer you a clean deck.
You know what, Lucy, I'm kind of bored of this mission. By the way, the ice cream place doesn't deliver right now. It doesn't even say why, it just says they don't deliver.
Desmond's back.
Hey guys, how are things? What's up? Life's good, right? Life is super good. Hey, that's weird. Do you see that? Do you see that right there? That's kind of odd. That looks a whole lot like that blinking pen that Lucy used in order to access stuff when she was Abstergo. Like that was her badge. You remember that? God, that is really hard to get a close-up of that. Now let's try this. This might work. There we go. No!
What do we have before the Templar satellite launch?
It's October 8th, so that leaves us with 74 days.
Not much time.
Think about all that you've been through in the last month. 74 days is a long time.
We're getting closer to the apple. I can feel it.
If it were up to me, you'd take more breaks.
Good thing the fate of the world doesn't rest on your shoulders.
Hey, joke all you want, but your mental health is a serious concern. It only takes a couple of months for most Animus users to exhibit extreme side effects, and you've been in for prolonged stretches of time.
I'll rest once we have the apple.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Anyways, I'm just pointing out that she still has the Abstergo pen. It's right there. You can see it in the lower left part of the screen. This is one of the only hints, and there's like 3 hints in all of Brotherhood that she's, you know, a traitor, and that's one of them. I just wanted to point that out. I will rest once we kill Cesare.
Any good stories about Cesare?
Are you kidding? He was notorious. Get this. In 1502, his top captains rebelled against him. He made concessions to all of them, and they rejoined his army. Then, on New Year's Eve in 1503, he got them together inside a room in Sinigalia. Everyone was arrested. 2 were put back to back and strangled by Micheletto that very night. The rest were thrown into chains and killed a few weeks later.
Wow.
The amazing thing is that Cesare was so friendly during the months before, they never saw the trap coming. Machiavelli called him the master deceiver.
I like to think they were just really stupid. Like, if we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, Kay, which, again, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I should also check something here really quick. This might screw some stuff up. Just letting you know. We're going to push down the refresh rate. Let's see how that... Oh, God, that looks off. All right, there we go. Okay, anyways. If we were to give them credit, Kay, which I am not willing to, but if we're willing to give them credit, I would say that it makes no real sense for her to delay, because remember, her overall goal is to help them find the apple and then take the apple, right? It would make more sense because she has their complete confidence. Remember, even Miles is actively reaching out to her and telling her about, you know, secret stuff. So it would make more sense if she was just trying to, you know, get the apple as quickly as possible. And then, okay, we've got the apple. And then at some point in time, she grabs it at the end. They win. Woo! That's my take on it, anyways.
That disrupted memory seems to be getting clearer.
It's amazing. The sequence is repairing itself as if we're helping you work through psychological trauma.
So I'm gonna be a more balanced person by the end of this?
I have no clue. But the idea is cool.
Are you saying that because you feel guilty about frying his brain?
Sean's on latrine duty.
Deal.
Oh, of course, yeah. You side with her. Communists.
Wow, alright.
Ezio's waiting.
So let's see where it puts us back in. Let's see what we can make work here. We're at 60 frames per second. G-Sync is on. And V-Sync is on. And we're here. Of course we're here. I mean, after this, the only other thing to do would be to close the game and restart the game. It always amuses me a little bit how many games, mostly older games, but games in general, specifically tied programming and scripts and codes to frame rate. I mean, we would never see a game that came out at the end of last year tie any effects to frame rate. That would be insane.
Cesare! The walls surround you! There is nowhere to run!
Come then, Ezio!
Well, if I must.
I cannot die. Fortuna will not fail me. I am the best fighter who ever lived. Stay back! You see, will never face me. And Auditore will never best me. Roma, Italia, Hispania, they will all be mine.
You want a city, Spain, and Rome? Well, let's get rid of some of that armor. There we go. Unfortunately or not, I am extremely railroaded on how I can kill him. You didn't need that armor either. You know, that's a recurring trend that last boss fights tend to not be all that great in this franchise. Ironically, even though I actually dislike the gameplay overall in Assassin's Creed 1, Al-Mualim was probably one of the better final bosses we've had in this franchise. Even the dog didn't like the Al-Mualim fight. Al-Mualim. It's a really hard word for me to say. I keep wanting to say Al-Mualim. Fun fact, I was really tired last night, right? So I'm like, oh, super tired. And then the dog started barking at like 6 in the morning at some guy walking by. I was not happy about that. That's it. That's the end of the story.
The throne was mine.
Wanting something does not make it your right.
What do you know?
That a true leader empowers the people he rules.
I will lead mankind into a new world.
Che nessuno ricordi il tuo nome.
May no one remember your name. No, he's gonna be pretty famous, unfortunately.
Kill me. No man can murder me!
Then I leave you in the hands of fate.
Also, we're a vampire, so, you know, there's that.
The throne was mine!
Super close-up!
What do you know?
Super mega close-up. Look at his face!
Mankind into a new world. You cannot kill me! No man can murder me!
I feel like we just saw this for some reason. I don't know why. Deja vu. Cesare actually did die by falling from a large height. That is how it is recorded. Ezio then says, no, Ezio tears off his helmet. I am no man. Wait, what? Gorgeous blonde locks, you know.
We've got it. Colosseum.
Let's go. We can be there before dawn.
Wait, there was something about that door. I don't think I saw a handle. Let me run an analysis.
Great. So we need some kind of futuristic key.
It seems to open with a verbally triggered mechanism. I've never seen anything like it.
You mean it needs a password?
Try humming Beethoven's Fifth.
Damn European power grid.
Ooh.
Now we can't scan Ezio's memories to find the password.
72. I mean, come on. This is obvious, guys.
We have to find that password.
Ezio knows the answer. Problem is, he's dead.
I can't believe we're stuck here.
Oh, not there yet. Not there yet. One more. Oh my god, look, it's the password.
Hey, maybe it has something to do with this.
The symbol matches the one on the door to the vault.
1419, 1420, 1421. What if they aren't dates?
1419, 1420. Oh my god.
What?
God.
Tell us already!
I am! The Tetragrammaton, the 72 names of God. You see? They're all contained within 3 verses, Exodus 19 through 21. And get this, you'll like this, if you arrange the 4 Hebrew letters in God's name within an equilateral triangle, their numerical values add up to the same number. 72.
Are you absolutely sure about this?
That's kind of why I'm saying it out loud, Rebecca, yeah, but I haven't got to the kicker yet. Construction on the Colosseum began in the year 72.
I think we have our password.
Sean, go get the van.
Funnily enough, all of those things are actually true, to my knowledge. Although, of course, that depends on which version of the Bible you're using and whatnot. But still. Like, there's been a lot of real-life conspiracy theories about the 72 thing. Whether it's a massive coincidence or whatever.
Let's go.
Whoa, what about us, eh? You might actually need a historian down there.
Sean's right. That tunnel should lead under Capitoline Hill. I'll help them find another entrance. Be careful, Desmond.
I'll drive.
Ah, yeah, nice try. I've seen your car.
I mean, the only thing I know about 72 is that it's divisible by 3. So it's not, a prime number or anything like that. So, this is it, guys. Now, Assassin's Creed games have a tendency to end on a very logical note. There's no cliffhangers.
Lucy, I'm making my way toward the entrance.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I'll shut up.
If you see any gladiators, my advice would be leg it.
I'll keep that in mind.
Man, this place is in great shape, considering.
I can't believe I'm actually going to hold the apple.
It's been a long time coming. You've earned it.
I wonder if it'll change things. Whether it can tip the scales in our favor.
I'm sure it will. It has to.
It's an interesting way to put that. You're just not thinking with portals, Kay. Oh, I love this.
Hopefully a map to the temples.
The apple's just gonna give it to us, is it? Yeah? Or was that Elvis over there?
Hey, maybe this time we'll be lucky.
Sorry. Oh my god, Maverick, you're right. Anyways. I like the Scooby Gang. I mean that with total sincerity. Rebecca and Sean are awesome. Elvis isn't dead, guys. He just went home.
There's so much construction. This place is like a maze.
The Hypergeum housed the cages of the gladiators and the machines which raised them to the surface. The whole area you're in right now was originally covered by the arena.
Good to know.
Yeah. I suppose if we really wanted to think about it, we could debate whether or not it was good luck or bad luck what happened here. What do you guys think? Honest question. something obvious I'm missing. And there is. It's always something obvious.
Something's bothering me. Today's date is October 10th.
So?
Guess how many days there are until the Templar satellite launch?
I have a feeling I know the answer. 72.
Why is today so important? We're just picking up the apple and leaving.
It's the door code. Someone wants to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, I guess.
This is a good time to mention where they were going with this 72 thing. Their explanation for the 72 thing is the 72 is a natural, let's call it a byproduct of predictive math and altering math. In other words, what we're seeing is a pattern, a confluence of events that all line up together so that this exact event happens in 72, and this was 72, and that was 72. It's the marker, basically. You see the number or the mathematical proof of 72. What you were seeing is Isu manipulation. Makes sense? Now, if I was clever, I would have like timed this to happen on the 72nd day of something, but I actually thought about that and I couldn't think of something to use as this being the 72nd day of, so whatever.
Okay, I'm back on familiar ground.
Well, I see an assassin symbol. And another one. Oh, there we go. There's some hay here. Yes, Ezio left hay here. It's been fine for the last... anyways. Isu hay. There are 72 pieces of hay in that pile.
We commit to this space the epilogue of our ending. Let it be found by he who is deemed worthy. Let it guide him. Let it shape his path forward. Let it save the world we leave behind.
Who are you?
No one's special.
What's going on, Desmond?
Nothing.
And he doesn't mention it. He doesn't mention it. This actually really irritates me that he doesn't mention her at all to them. Anyways, Equalitas, sorry. I've never really been into conspiracy theories myself. Like, I like a good story designed around conspiracy theories being real. You know, Deus Ex, X-Files in the beginning, this series. But in real life, nah. Oh yeah, that's Juno, by the way, if that wasn't really obvious. What do you mean, Harriet? I don't actually understand your point. Really? Okay. 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 I mean, I suppose in real life, conspiracy theories tend to be much more mundane. You know what I mean? Like, yes, such and such worked with such and such in order to create the the picket thing, which basically directly led to years and years of war with the Middle East. That's not really conspiracy theory, that's just what happened. There we go. Or, you know, the South Sea Bubble is a perfect example of something that was a real thing, but that's, I mean, again, it's more mundane than your typical conspiracy theory. See, the biggest problem, this is just my opinion, the biggest problem with most conspiracy theories is they presume that the people in charge are on top of everything, right? Like, they control everything. They know everything. And everything is done with a purpose. And real life just is a little bit messier than that. Anyways.
Beginning, we set our truths to parchment, to stone, to the memory of men. These proved impermanent things. Cleansed by fire, cleansed by famine, cleansed by flood. All the world is innocent once more. Innocent and ignorant.
Oh, gotcha. That has already been changed by this game, Hariant. They had already abandoned that story idea as of the creation of Brotherhood. Who was Zeus? So, I haven't talked about Juno's father, have I? Because Juno and Minerva are sisters, by the way. And they did have a father. He's super dead. Can you guess what killed him?
Retrace your position. I think I found an entrance.
Okay.
Yes, a human killed Saturn. With a scythe. What?
I'm coming.
Took you long enough.
What is this place?
Santa Maria Araqueli. See those columns along the aisles? They're lifted from Roman ruins. Now, supposedly, this church was built on top of the ancient temple of Juno.
I'm sure that's not relevant.
I like the ceiling.
Do you like the ceiling? Oh, you are a fascinating traveling companion.
Look, that door's got to weigh like 50, 60 pounds, Ice. There's no way.
Where to now?
There's something up there.
Oh, we'll just stay down here then, shall we? Just pray or something.
I'm not even going to comment on how convenient this construction is. We've already talked about this. This is a video game dungeon, and that's why it's laid out this way. Moving on.
We did not build them to be wise, and now they are our final, vaulted hope. You are they.
I mean, they weren't built to be wise. Humans were built to be laborers.
Potential for understanding, but you broke our tools, or turned them against one another. We have destroyed what we could, sealed away what we could not.
There's just a ladder there.
Something's open.
Most, not all. And it does not take many to unwind the world. Here is a safe place, eternal, to store objects, words, wisdom, but not life. Almost did we have the means. But time erodes us, We can distract him. We can see past him. Feint left when he strikes right. But his reach is so very long. His stamina, unending. We cannot evade his grasp. Not forever.
No. There we go. I just failed earlier. Whatever. Sure, alright, that's a good answer. Yeah, did you not hear my whole explanation of the Isu earlier, Kay? The Isu specifically crafted two species. Uplifted is actually a slightly more accurate term. They uplifted primates to become two servitor species. One was designed to be very durable, strong, good in a fight. That would be the Neanderthals. Those were the military. The other one was designed to reproduce like rabbits and to be able to endure significant hardship and environmental damage. That would be humans. The humans were the servitors, the slaves, the workers, etc. Now, someone actually asked a wonderful question on my Discord. Recently. And that question was, why did they why did they bother crafting the Neanderthals? Who were they fighting? Well, the answer is each other. See, one of the crucial elements you need to understand about the Isu is that they were not one organization. They were not one united people. They were a whole bunch of disparate forces who were all constantly fighting against each other. There was tons and tons of infighting. So, yeah. That is what the Neanderthals were for. Now, in case you're not catching this, let me go ahead and make this point very, very clear. Because there have been some fictional stories about this very concept. Imagine for a moment if there was an advanced race that could craft a relatively cheap, easy substitute race, a slave race, whether it's droids or androids or humans or Neanderthals or whatever. And they could just throw that into the thresh field fighting each other instead of killing themselves. And I'm basically referencing the Dominion here, because that's basically what this is at. The life of an Isu, that's valuable. The life of a Neanderthal, that's worthless. And so what ended up happening is the internecine wars were actually worse than they otherwise would have been, arguably, because they didn't have to hold back. Isu would never get attacked. Just Neanderthals. So if Isu faction A was fighting Isu faction B, and Isu faction B's 100,000 strong army was annihilated, well, okay, then Isu faction B loses. They don't need to keep killing the Isu. They don't need to keep fighting them because they're not going to fight fellow Isu. They've won the contest. So war became kind of a game for these people. An actual point here. Let me look up a thing. And by look up, I mean I have it on my notes. Right here. I haven't needed my notes for a while now. Here we go. In the year, where is it? 75,383. There was an event called the War of Unification. This is a war in which the sword, which is the one we see in Unity, and the shroud, which is in Syndicate and mentioned in 2, and that's the one Jesus had, were both crafted specifically to assist in the efforts of that particular war. Now, there are some implications that there was at least one faction that was basically trying to stop the fighting, hence the term the War of Unification. However, that failed miserably. It is probably worth noting that that war happened a mere 383 years prior to the devastation, death, doom, which wiped out way more than half of the life on the planet. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but just to keep this going really quick, because obviously some people are in chat right now that have not heard me say this. Adam and Eve were two of the people who ended up leading the war. Now, I've already explained what the hybrids were. Isu have very long reproductive rates. They don't have children very often. There were not that many of them. Humans were specifically designed to be constantly fertile. This is mostly from the Side Stuff Theoretical Artist. Funnily enough, if you go to the wiki, most of this information is not there. The Assassin's Creed wiki has always been very lackluster, in my opinion. There's just a lot of information you can't find there. So most of this stuff is either in the comics, in the database, the Animus databases of the various games, or in the game's dialogue themselves. That's where you find all this stuff. Anyways, so Adam and Eve, right. So humans were designed to be very, very fertile. So the Isu decided to have sex with their slaves, and thus we have hybrids. Now, the Adam and Eve were not actually the first hybrids. They were just some of the hybrids. But they were the first two to actually lead to humans trying to usurp their controllers. The hybrids were essential to this war effort because the hybrids were, immune to mind control, and thus would be able to not only lead their forces against the Isu, but be probably Tesla, but also be immune to effects, but also be able to use. They could use Isu artifacts. In fact, during the Truth video, which I've already shown, we saw that Adam and Eve, their first mission, their first act of rebellion, was stealing one of the apples from their creators. Get it? Anyways. So, hello, Chunyi. That led to the war between the Isu and the humans. Now, it's probably worth noting that this was, let's be slightly more clear about this, this was actually a war between the humans and the Neanderthals. Because, again, the Isu don't do the fighting themselves. This war went on for a while. But I want to stress this because this actually helps to make this make a degree of sense. Because, I'm sorry, the explanation that was originally given for the humans being able to withstand the war at all was because they reproduced a lot. That's bullcrap. I'm sorry. If you have 1,000 ants attack you, and you have like a bug bomb, which you can just drop on their face, or the ability to mind control half their numbers or whatever, it doesn't matter that they have 1,000. There are simply too many. Like, there's a point at which strength of numbers is overcome by strength of technology, and the Isu have the ability to alter math. So, no, the reason that the human rebellion war actually took so long and caused so many issues, this is funny, is because the Isu weren't taking it seriously. This is just another of the usual wars they fought. And remember, the Isu were not united. The humans were. So we have one cohesive force, which has access to some of the tech, which has way superior numbers, and the other side is a fractious force, which is not coordinating with itself, which is sending their own slave pets after them to fight them. It's pretty much the Clone Wars here. Except without a third party controlling everything. In the middle of this, Juno and, I mentioned this already, Juno and Minerva's father, Saturn, was like, we should try to take care of the humans. Then a human kills them. I'm exaggerating slightly. Saturn was actually one of those people who was in favor of the idea of granting humans their freedom. It was Juno, even this, before her father was killed, Juno insisted they were nothing more than toys, pets, lesser creatures. You know, the usual elitist attitude. So, with the death of Saturn, that pretty much was the end of Juno's mentality. So, with the resources that they had at their disposal, Juno, Minerva, Jupiter, and Ita. I have no idea how to pronounce Ida. I know they say it in Assassin's Creed 4, but I don't remember how they say it. But anyways, Ita? I don't know, what a jackass face. All four of them retreated to one of their, I don't know what to call it, scientific places. Laboratories, there we go. Retreated to one of their laboratories. No, it's spelled A-I-T-A, is how it's spelled. Aita, sure. So Aita and the others retreated to one of their laboratories and were like, hey! And they decided to start going through all of their different ways to save the world, okay? Now, I want to tell you all 7 of the ways they came up with now, because... okay. Option 1. We're going to build these towers, and these towers are going to siphon all of the power of the solar flare and distribute it evenly and smoothly. Now, this option was totally feasible. In fact, this is probably the easiest and simplest option. Problem was it would have taken too much time. Remember, these people are not in charge of the Isu. The Isu are not unified. That's important. So they didn't have the time to make that work. So they abandoned that plan. Plan 2. We're going to set up these magnetic rings around the Earth to basically deflect it. They had the ability to do this. This actually had a similar problem with the first plan, because this would have also worked, but each ring can only reflect enough energy over a very limited area. So they would need to make a lot of these rings. We're talking in the millions range, which would have been too costly because they were still limited by things like budget and resources. Remember, not unified. Option 3. This is when it gets ridiculous. They wanted to have a dog bark, and they figured if the dog barked territorially, that the sun would leave them alone. That didn't work out for some reason, and so once the dog failed to knock the sun back, they instead wanted to use the apples. They wanted to launch the apples into the atmosphere and use them to mind control all of humanity, or at least a huge chunk of humanity, all at the same time. Because, and I've already mentioned this, thought makes reality. The idea here... the idea here is that if all of the humans all across the planet all said, make us safe, if they all mentally thought, make us safe, all at the same time, it would have worked. Because human belief apparently is a real thing in this setting. So yeah, we're orcs. Now, this is dumb, but you know why it didn't work? They were having trouble mind controlling enough humans at the same time. They would have had to launch not just one, they would have had to launch multiple apples into the orbit and get them all synced and get them all sending the same message all at the same time. And they just couldn't get the thing working. So they're like, all right, screw it. Let's move on to the next thing. The next thing, this is a funny one because someone in chat actually brought this up a few minutes ago. Why don't we augment ourselves? Why don't we just make new bodies for ourselves that will actually be able to endure the thing, right? We'll endure... and it will augment, we'll get cybernetics going on, and we'll be able to survive. I have no idea, theoretical. There's quite a few, though. I really don't remember their names. If you just look up Assassin's Creed comic, almost all of them are about the Isu, to some extent or another. So... this is when these 7 attempts they made just start getting ridiculous. I mean, we're already at the point of ridiculous because thought equals reality, but this one's stupid. The Isu, who have super mega tech and mind control device and could build things to remove the sun's energy from the earth and just all this ridiculous magical tech, they tried to cybernetically enhance someone, something we're working on doing right now in real life, something that is one of the most common basic concepts ever, and it failed. For reasons that we never actually explain, this actually failed miserably. Because this is what specifically led to Aita, whatever the hell his name is, basically dying. This is actually mentioned in Assassin's Creed 3 specifically, that they were going to augment Aita's body. It failed. Like they mentioned, his mind was drifting, and he couldn't keep himself. And in a moment of lucidity, he begged me to kill him. That's all that. That's all attempt 4. So they couldn't make them Borg for some reason. So option 5, new idea. Why don't we transfer our intellect and our consciousness into like a computer or something and put that in a vault, and that will endure and survive, right? That makes sense, right? This is when I think the writers started not crossing streams and not interacting with each other, because this option failed because they couldn't do it. They could not make it happen. Now, if you don't understand the problem here, the reason Juno is still around in the modern era is because once they discovered that Juno had altered the 7th option, which I'm building up to, in order to take over the world and conquer all the humans, they decided to imprison her in a computer device, transferring her consciousness into... Option 6... This is funny. These will continue to get more ridiculous. Each one of these is more ridiculous than the last one. Option 6 is time travel. We'll go back and we'll fix it. It'll be cool. Guys, it's cool. We'll go back, we'll kill Hitler, it'll be great. Why do you think the time travel one wasn't chosen? Just guess. If you don't know, just guess. Because they altered their math wrong. No, we're not there yet. Yes, Kay. That is correct. Because they can't alter the past. Nope. They could not make it work. Nope. Fixed point in time. Nope. Too many complications. That's the closest one. The idea is basically, and Nerdman gets it correct, basically they looked at what time travel would actually do and they were terrified. I'm not joking. They looked at time travel and said, we can make that happen, yeah? Let's try to figure out what would happen if we did it. So they decided it was too dangerous. They decided that time travel... I want to refresh this point. They decided that time travel was so dangerous, it would have been better for the Earth to be burnt to a crisp than to attempt time travel. Just think about that for a second. We don't know, Tesla. We'll probably find out, given the way things are going at this point. But anyways. So that leads us to option 7. This is the one they actually settled on. All they have to do is alter math! Well, you know, we get there. The eye that they constructed, that's what it does. It alters math in order to basically make it so that the planet withstands the fusion doom of the sun. Now, the thing is, you might be like, well, okay, they came up with the solution. They even built the eye. Why didn't they do it? Well, Juno had decided at this point, remember, at this point, Aita is basically dead. Juno had decided to manipulate and influence the eye so that it would then propagate her will and she would be able to, you know, endure and kill and conquer the world and blah, blah, blah. So that's when they decided to lock her away and be like, yeah, I know, right, Nerdman? Anyway, so they decided to lock her away and, you know, seal her in a way that they totally couldn't do in 5 for some reason. And that's how Juno actually endures. Keep in mind, Minerva and Jupiter don't actually live through all these events. Every time we see Minerva and Jupiter, we're seeing a projection, basically. A recording. Juno is actually locked away as an AI. That's why Juno is still here in the present. Now, we can argue if it's the original Juno or not, but at this point, that's almost irrelevant, because one Juno or another actually endures until the modern era, until she's released in at the end of Assassin's Creed 3. But Jupiter and Minerva are gone. So, good morning, exclamation mark. How chilly is it there right now? Question mark. Are scooters expensive? Question mark. Mom's at the point where she's going to try and rent or buy a scooter in order to be able to get around, since it's going to be like another week before they even get back the x-ray stuff. Yeah, no kidding, Leander. Now, I do have one other thing to share about here. I wanted to talk briefly about all 3 characters I just mentioned. Minerva, Jupiter, and Juno. I personally think of Jupiter as the best of the 3. That's and we'll actually see him later on, don't worry. But mostly it's just because he's the first of all, he's the one who came up with the idea. He's like, we're going to get together and we're going to fix the world because the rest of the Isu are stupid! And that was basically Jupiter. Even though we don't see really much about him, at the very least, I'm kind of with that mentality, right? So, that's Jupiter. We know the least about him. However, we do know that Jupiter was against Juno. We know Jupiter and Minerva both traveled out into the world amongst the humans in order to basically build the new humanity. Cool. Minerva is the pragmatic one. We'll see that on camera, so I'm actually going to save some of my thoughts for that until later. But she was also the math lady. She was the one who came up with the idea of idea 7, the alter math thing. She's the one who invented the eye. She's also the one who came up with the ridiculous future prediction thing. That's her. She's the one who knew math so well that she could predict the future adequately enough in order to perfectly design these recordings and all that. She is also the one who tried to remove Isu artifacts from humanity. I actually made a note here. There was a comic, I want to say, called Last Descendants, where they discuss what Minerva did to try and remove Isu artifacts from human hands. That's where the trident comes up, actually. Juno, I already mentioned her. we'll be seeing a lot of Juno. She was supposed to be the big villain, but... Elijah. Anyways, so she hated humanity. Then humans killed her father. Then she wanted to conquer the world, so they imprisoned her, and I already mentioned all that stuff. I mean, why would you kill her? That's just ridiculous. Why would you kill a fellow Isu? If we're being 100% honest for a second, why do you think they didn't kill Juno? Real question. Because I can see two answers here. I'm not sure, Haria, truthfully. I'm not sure if they invented math alteration for this, or if it was something the Isu already knew. Minerva is basically stressed to be an absolute genius when it comes to Isu standards. Even by Isu standards. Jupiter, too. I mean, you're probably right, Sakage. I'm using their terms here. Retu is basically mentioning something that I think is personally the reason. Ape must not kill ape. You know, there's too few Isu left, right? And Isu just don't kill other Isu. I mentioned that earlier with the whole Neanderthal thing. You're right. Nerdman brings something up. Athena might still be alive. That's a very recent development, as recent as like last year recent. So I'm not willing to put anything other than a stamp of an asterisk on that one of we'll see. But Athena might also have endured into the modern era. But yeah, that's my theory, that it was so ingrained into them to not kill other Isu that they just went ahead and decided to imprison her in the way that they couldn't do for themselves, but whatever. Now, the other possibility is very simple. They're just stupid. I mean, how many times has there been a fictional story where some great ancient evil was sealed away, and now it's up, and now I gotta fight it again? I mean, that's just such a cliche, right? It could have just been that. They had to seal it away, otherwise we wouldn't have a villain in the modern era, right? Anyways. That is a good question, Kay. You let me know when you figure that out. Yay. Now, as I mentioned, there was kind of a retcon with the modern era stuff. This is where Juno comes into that, because Juno designed the sages. Yeah, exactly, Tesla. Juno designed the sages, and the sages, so... I'll actually save my discussion on the sages until we do the future lore, because it doesn't matter for these. They hadn't even invented the sages until we got to Assassin's Creed 4. So all you need to know is that Juno invented the sages, and apparently manipulated artifacts throughout history to ensure that the Templars and Assassins both fight each other, but in a certain way...
Your dedication will be rewarded.
So that their dedication will be rewarded, and they eventually resurrect her and she conquers the world. I'm not actually kidding about that last part. That is the retcon story, that Juno has been behind everything. There's been no recent donations. I rolled to disbelieve. Here we go. It's from Martin. What's up, Martin? Thank you very, very much, as ever. Much appreciate those subs. And donations. Sorry, that's actually a donation, not a sub. But nevertheless, thank you. And you're putting that towards Pillars of Eternity 2, which has been out for a while now, hasn't it? Where's the list? Where's the list? It's right here. There we go. There we go. So noted. Thank you again. Anyways, I think that covers everything. So now we're going to listen to Juno, and she's going to give her own version of the events I just told you. That's why I wanted to stop here and tell you what actually happened, because now we're going to hear the extremely biased version of events from Juno's own mouth, so to speak. No, don't fall again. We've already been through that.
Here goes.
Hello. That wasn't in the blueprints.
Desmond, get down here!
On my way.
How convenient they gave me a way down, as long as I'm superhuman.
Whatever this is, it doesn't do anything. It's a dead end.
Wow, you came to that conclusion really quickly.
I'm not so sure.
What's going on?
I've never heard anything to substantiate that, Nerdman, but I've heard the same rumor.
If you want to kill us, mate, you're going to have to try a little harder than that.
We're here.
I like how Sean was the only one bracing himself. Do you notice that?
Now for that password. If Sean's right, that is.
I'm always right.
About that dead end.
That never happened. I was misquoted.
Sean is the smart one. And while he is a bit of a prick, I do like him. Like I said, he grew on me pretty fast.
Do you think it speaks English?
Just say it.
Okay. 72.
Look, no one does archaeology, Terra. That's a dead-end job.
After you, I think.
I actually heard one person say he's not snarky, he's British.
You guys have to see this.
This is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's alright.
I'm actually impressed.
Oh, I know what you mean, Kay.
Seems to be in the center.
I really do. It would be more.
Find out where those temples are.
It would be more accurate to say that the Isu predicted English, which is interesting. Because to me, the world builder in me thinks that they programmed this thing to accept the password of, 72, and I actually don't know how to say 72 in other languages. But, 72 in, like, every language, including languages that hadn't been invented yet.
Hey, Jasmine, those beams poking out the walls are like switches. If you hit all of them,
Of course you follow me. They all do.
Or you might cause this room to turn into an alien spaceship and fly away. Think about it.
When did Indiana Jones 4 come out in relation to this game? I'm just curious. Hang on, I wasn't expecting another donation. I actually closed the window entirely. That was from Bronze. I try to explain the lore as best as I can. Thank you very, very, very much for the donation. And I'll put that towards the Enderall mod immediately. Right here. Enderall. Thank you again. Aha! So it had come out! I knew it! Now, I just want you to think about this. This is where this gets the most video gamey. Remember, Juno actively wants this all to happen. So this is a timed jumping puzzle, as I just demonstrated. So the only argument I've ever heard to try and justify this in lore is that she made sure that only someone who was effectively superhuman, Altair, Ezio, Desmond, would be able to get through here and get this, and do all this stuff. But I just want you to picture how much time and effort was spent on building this place that was designed, in lore, to be a timed jumping puzzle to access a thing.
100 years I might speak, still you would not know us. You with 5 senses, us with 6. The one we kept from you, to be safe. Now you can never know, only try. Grasp. You can see, smell, taste, touch, hear. Knowledge has been locked away.
So they mentioned the 6th sense there, right there. They never really specify what the 6th sense is. Juno herself calls it knowledge. But the 6th sense is the biggest thing that differentiates the Isu from humans. Other than, the obvious physiological differences. Although they are crossbreedable, apparently, which is hysterical. I mean, if you actually think about how difficult it is for multiple species to breed across, you know, species like that, just picture that. I know we all think that half Vulcans are normal and all.
After, when the world became undone, we tried to pass it through the blood. Tried to join you to us. You see the blue shimmer, you hear the words, but you do not know.
Notice the voice acting, by the way? For all of the interesting elements of Juno and how much I actively kind of dislike her as a character, I'm just going to say that the fact is, the Juno voice actress is good. I just want you to pay attention to her tone and her word usage as we get through this, okay? Oh yeah, and by the way, just to point it out while we're here, an aspect of good game design, they don't make us do this twice, even though technically they could have. They could have had us do this as Ezio and then do this as Desmond. Instead, we just do this one time. Right. I actually forgot about that. It's funny because I was going for the other one last time. Oh, and by the way, several people are like, well, the sixth sense is the eagle sense. Possibly? Because we do know, for example, that Cassandra has a literal psychic connection to her eagle. It's possible that the more Isu DNA you have, the more you have that kind of, let's call it what it is, metaphysical, magical connection to the world around you. You know, a different way of connecting with things around you other than seeing, hearing, tasting, etc. So I would say that's a reasonable hypothesis, but we don't know. That's why I mention it that way. What? Yep, okay. That was the wrong time to look away from the cam. That was on me. That was on me. I was looking at what Nerdman was saying. They do... God damn it, game. Jump at the thing I'm pointing you at. They did mention the time thing, but I think that's more just them bringing the time travel plot back into the forefront. It could be related to it. Who knows? Again, I'm just going to keep going with that. We don't know. They never really define it. No, that was my bad. I looked away from the game. I figured I could make the jump without looking at it. I should have known better than that. Considering I have trouble making jumps when I am looking at the game. Love this music, by the way.
We should have left you as you were.
I already pointed out the tone thing there.
It is hard to stay contained, knowing as we do. We wait for you, Desmond. You will come here. You will activate it. You will know only when it is too late.
Did you hear any of that?
Any of what?
I didn't hear what? What are you talking about? What's that from, Volcanto? If you don't mind my asking.
I can't believe it.
You ready for the big cliffhanger ending?
So where are the temples?
You want me to ask it?
Or think it or something. You sure you asked it the right thing?
I know this, I know that symbol. That's a Phrygian cap. It stands for freedom, and that's a Masonic eye. Now those two come together in only one place.
What's happening? I can't move.
Your DNA communes with the apple. You have activated it.
Let me go!
On the 72nd day before the moment of awakening, you, birthed from our loins and the loins of our enemies, the end and the beginning, who we abhor and honor, the final journey commences. There is one who would accompany you through the gate. She lies not within our sight. The cross darkens the horizon.
What are you doing?
The path must be opened. You cannot escape your part in this. The scales shall be balanced.
So first of all, you notice Abstergo is one of the symbols in the background there. Second of all, there was the French Revolution reference there that Nerdman pointed out the other day. I really did never catch that. Third of all, we have to do this. The game forces us to do this. If you hit any button, like this one,
Stop! Please!
you'll notice it's also clearly affecting the... You can see the...
Very little. We must guide you. Cease your struggle.
You know, you could just say she's an agent, but, you know, that would be not vague.
No!
Sorry, Lucy, but, I mean, you are the enemy, so, you know. And it'll just sit here until you do.
It is done. The way lies all before you. Only she remains to be found. Awaken the sixth. Go, alone.
I mean, she even mentions the cross, but she can't just say she's a Templar. No, no. So we go into a coma from that. Based on events... Now, at this point, we have to officially start really getting wonky with analyzing the lore, because even the writers didn't really know what they were doing at this point. So it's really, really hard to really judge or analyze a work of fiction when the writers themselves are just like, eh. So, that being stated, we could pretty reasonably say that putting Desmond into the coma was probably a deliberate thing that Juno did. So, yes, and what Jabez says is true. In 3, they retconned this by saying that he had a choice in killing her, rather than, you know, the fact that they clearly didn't show that here. Again, making it up as they go. We have entered the realm of the retcons. Now, Tesla thinks...
He's gone into shock.
Oh, here we go.
Back in the machine.
Here we go.
It's the only way to fix this. But the Animus did this to him. Am I the expert or not? Do it. No.
So that's supposed to be Miles. You'll notice that that's the first of 3 voice actors who will voice Miles. Just thought I'd point that out really quick. Anyways. Ah! I'll tap for a second. Thank you very, very much, Overseer. USA. Putting it towards Anthem. You're awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, so we could probably presume that Juno deliberately put him into a coma. I mentioned that because they actually imply several times that he went into a coma over shock at killing her. But then, as I mentioned, 3 retconned that by saying he knew that it was a thing and it was his choice. And so, retcon. However, you'll notice that both 2, well, arguably 1, 2, and 3, have all... ended on massive cliffhangers, right? 1 is like, oh my god, what am I seeing? 2 is like, I must speak to you, Desmond. And 3 is, hi, Lucy, stab. Is there anything after this? Oh, there we go. Nope, no, we're just... Wait, hang on, what's that? So who is she? Good question! Remember, Layla wasn't even invented at this point in time. This was years before they would invent Layla as a character. So who is she? What do you think? Oh, comma. I thought you meant one for in general, period. What else to add to that? Could have been Eve. It's definitely not Minerva. You know, obviously Juno and Minerva are in opposition of each other. Could be Athena, who also wasn't invented at this point in time. I mean, really. Yeah, it's another thing. Several of the older Assassin's Creed games mentioned the idea that Eve was really important. Like, Javes mentioned that. But I'm pretty sure after Revelations, they never mention Eve again. So another abandoned plot thread. Because, yay. We must find the super blood, which is actually female for some reason. I'm sorry. Yeah, all of a sudden Layla shows up. Hi! What the hell? No, Layla goes back in time. I mean, it's not like they couldn't bring Desmond back. Nolan North is still active and, you know, alive and everything. It'd be pretty easy to bring Desmond back if they wanted to. I know, right, Dakota? Yes, blood is female. Who knew? What's a frappe? Oh, no, that's a coffee thing, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I'm getting ice cream. I'm sorry. This game. I deserve ice cream, damn it. Actually, I probably don't. But, you know, whatever. I'm still doing it. Get. What do we got here? They've got German chocolate cake. Let's see, what is that? Chocolate pecans? Nope. Chocolate, peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter cups, and fudge. The pie who loved me. Who comes up with these names? Cheesecake, Oreo, graham, and fudge. Okay, what else we got here? Cake batter, rainbow sprinkles, brownie, and fudge. Okay. I don't know, what do you think I should get, guys? The pie who loved me. Well, you don't like the pie who loved me? Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go, here we go. I'm letting this run because I don't remember if there's something at the end of it, and I, you know, skipped over the thing in 2, and I don't want to repeat that problem. Chocolate and lemon? I don't think I've done that. They don't have fried ice cream, no. Debate. What is yellow cake? You know what? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Red cherry pie filling? You could just have that mixed into ice cream. I mean, it already is basically there, Micro. I've been saying that for years. I'm not even joking. Ever since Revelation. That's really when it codified in my mind. I've been saying, look, this series is basically magic. Just embrace it. Just do it, you know? Christ's sakes. There. Ice cream ordered. Alright, so, anyways. And then the game's over. Okay, we're okay. I hit the right button. We're cool. It would have been extremely possible, Silder, especially given how many times they do that. Really, game? Okay. I mean, remember, as I just mentioned, there are 3 voice actors. 3 voice actors for Miles. Come on. You're kidding. Hang on. So anyways, how's your day going? There really needs to be... Negative to gameplay. There's no skip cutscene option.
You want me to ask it?
Or think it or something.
You can do it, game. Give me control. Let me skip. I can't believe this crap.
You sure you asked it the right
I should have let the credits finish.
I know this. I know that.
Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let the credits finish. Why don't we cut off the local recording? How's that sound?
And that's a Masonic eye.
Goodbye, YouTubers.